Well, happy first weekend of summer. It has been a toasty last couple of days, but we are looking ahead towards the hottest air of the year so far, especially from this weekend all the way through next week. And we're going to be talking about all things heat coming up in the next several minutes. Want to take a look at the high temperatures just from the past 7 days. 3 days this past week featured 90-degree temperatures or above, especially consecutive between Thursday and Friday, but well above average in the upper 80s to lower 90s, and we will add several more of those 90-degree days in the forecast this weekend and into next week ahead. Let's talk about the stats. Year to date, right now, we have about 5 days so far this year where we've had temperatures 90 degrees or above. Taking a look back, though, the average per year is 44. The most that we've ever had was 88 days back in 1954, and the least was 8 back in 1967, and we are off definitely to a hot start this summer. This weekend, you can expect it to be hot and mainly dry. Only an isolated chance for a shower or thunderstorm. Most locations will stay dry. We're going to be talking about the heat wave that's really going to start to build starting on Sunday and all throughout next week, with several days featuring triple-digit heat, and that's not even factoring the heat index value. It's also going to be drier as well, with low rain chances for this week ahead. As we take a preview of what you can expect for this weekend, Saturday's highs will be in the lower 90s, several degrees above the normal high for this time of year, and Sunday will only continue to increase that as that heat continues to build, middle 90s, and we're only going up from here. Of course, mosquitoes are the only ones that love this weather, so the skeeter meter is going to be off the chart as mosquitoes really love warm and humid conditions, especially temperatures between 80 to 90 degrees, so they'll probably be out for the most part, especially during the morning hours. So you'll want that bug spray, but you'll also want that SPF. This is the UV index forecast going into this weekend. For Saturday, it's at 11. That is very high. Burn time close to around 10 to 15 minutes. Then by Sunday and Monday goes up to around 10, very high, with that highest sun angle between around 11 o'clock to 3 p.m. And of course, this is the time of year where that sun angle is the most strong. So it's around 77 degrees. And of course, it's in line with the summer solstice, so that's when the sun angle is actually peaking. And of course, yesterday was the first official day of summer. It began at 10:42, so this weekend, first official weekend of summer, and it's certainly going to be feeling like it. And a good way to cool off, if you haven't already, is make sure your ceiling fans are set to that summer setting. That is counterclockwise, so the air is forced straight downward and it produces a wind chill effect, effectively cooling you off. Of course, for winter, it's the opposite effect. It goes over towards a clockwise, so again, make sure, if you haven't already, a good way to prep for the upcoming heat, make sure that your ceiling fan is set on that counterclockwise setting. Checking in on the rain almanac, we are now approaching the fourth week of June, and we've had daily storm chances in the forecast over this past week. We picked up around 3.5 inches. That is about 3/4 of an inch above the normal precipitation for this time of year. So that means the month of May and the month of June will both feature above normal rain precipitation totals. But as we look back, January, February, March, and April all featured a deficit. So total for the year, we're around 18 inches with a departure close to around 2 inches. Of course, the rounds and rounds of rain that we've been seeing over the past several weeks have done absolute wonders to that drought monitor. The newest drought monitor pretty much has the drought basically eliminated in both North and South Carolina. So we are in good shape for this hot and dry week ahead, which is going to be because of this heat dome. Heat dome is basically a massive area of high pressure system that basically expands. It forces the air to sink down to the surface, leading to an extreme heat wave that will impact the eastern half of the United States. But the thing is, it also compresses clouds and it compresses rain. So you'll notice the rain chances over the next week ahead are going to be very, very unimpressive. Only about a 20% chance from Thursday all the way into this weekend. So blazing hot conditions is what we have in the forecast for the next 10 days. And forecasting a couple of days where we could see triple-digit heat from Tuesday all the way into Friday. Of course, feeling hotter than the actual temperature. Last time we hit 100 degrees was 101. That was July 5th, 2024, 350 days ago, and we'll likely hit that several times this week ahead. Checking in on the stats, days that we've seen several 100-degree days in Charlotte. Well, of course, we got to go back to 2015. Since 2000, we have hit 100 degrees only 24 times. But of course, it will be feeling like it for the start of the work week. Monday, feeling like 100. By the time we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, this is why we have that weather alert out, where we could potentially see a heat advisory in place. A heat advisory gets issued by the National Weather Service when the heat index is expected to be between 105 to 109. Extreme heat warning is when the heat index is expected to be 110 or greater. So we may see a couple of heat advisories issued, especially further on into the week. 3-day impacts, especially going into this weekend. Most of us under that moderate to major range, but as we approach Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, this is potentially where we could start to go into that purple and that extreme. This is Tuesday, and then this is Wednesday, a little bit more widespread in and around the Charlotte area. And basically what that means is more widespread impacts. Heat will be enough that little to no relief is possible, even overnight. And anybody without effective cooling will be impacted. Again, we could see days of that extreme level. So make sure to take care of yourself, really Monday through Thursday during the peak daytime hours, where it's going to be feeling like the triple digits or higher. So that's why we want you to stay weather aware and, of course, find a way to stay cool throughout the day. I want to talk a little bit about the excessive heat impacts on the health and body. A couple of symptoms that you can identify for heat exhaustion. That's going to be faint or dizzy, excessive sweating, pale, clammy skin, nausea or vomiting, also muscle cramps. That's when you want to get to a cool place and drink water, but also heat stroke. Here's the symptoms for that. Throbbing headache, no sweating, the body temperature is above 103, you're also red hot, you've got dry skin, definitely some vomiting, and rapid, strong pulse. That's when you have to call 911 and take immediate action to cool down. Let's talk about the urban heat island. If you've ever noticed that it sometimes gets hotter in the city, well, you're not wrong. So we've got the solar radiation in the city and also the surrounding areas as well, but the buildings and roads absorb more sunlight. So it creates a dome of heat, which is why the city is hotter than the surrounding areas. And it takes a little bit longer to cool at night as well. Urban areas remain much warmer at night than the surrounding areas. So it doesn't really cool off a lot. So if you ever notice that it's actually remaining just a little bit cooler in some of those more rural areas, you're not wrong. Want to also touch on this. A lot of you have dogs. Of course, a lot of dogs want to be outside. They got to have their walk. So you'll want to do this 7-second rule. Place your hand on the surface for 7 seconds, and if it's too hot for you, it is too hot for them. In air temperature at 78 degrees, the concrete will measure 95. The asphalt will be 114. But when you go to where we're forecasting temperatures mainly in the 90s this weekend, 93, that concrete is going to be 125 degrees with that asphalt 140. So definitely not only take care of yourself, but your pets as well. Here's a look at what you can expect for this 7-day forecast. Of course, this weekend is going to be hot, not nearly as humid as we've been seeing over the past couple of days, but we will really be turning up the heat, especially from Monday all the way through Thursday, and that is why we are weather alert for dangerous heat expected with triple digits through most of the work week ahead. And if we don't hit the triple digits, certainly we'll be feeling like it. So take care of yourself and, of course, stay weather alert. We will keep up to date with the forecast here coming up later.